Welcome to Astro Cheaper Sci-Fi Hindi. Today we are diving into a mysterious world. Let's get started.
The alarms never stopped ringing. Deep in the void, far beyond mapped galaxies, there existed a prison no one talked about publicly. A place designed not just to contain criminals, but to contain impossibilities. Creatures that could bend gravity. Entities that fed on energy. Beings that could rewrite matter itself. And among them, humans. At first no one noticed them. They arrived quietly. No dramatic entry. No display of power. Just a small group of fragile-looking beings, escorted into the lowest security sector. The guards didn't even bother activating high-level restraints. One of them laughed. These ones? They won't last a week. Another replied, they don't even have natural weapons. And for a while, it seemed true. The humans kept their heads down. They didn't challenge anyone. Didn't fight for dominance. Didn't show off. They observed. Always observing. Days passed. Then weeks, then months, and something strange began to happen. Not to the humans, but to the prison. It started small. A door that didn't lock properly. A camera that glitched for half a second too long. A food delivery system that arrived, slightly off schedule. The guards blamed the system. Old structure, they said. Needs maintenance. But the prison wasn't old. It was perfect. Designed by the most advanced minds in the galaxy. Nothing failed, unless something made it fail. Meanwhile, the humans continued their routine. Sit, watch, wait. One alien inmate, huge, armored, feared across star systems, approached a human one day. You are weak, it growled. The human looked up calmly. Probably. The alien sneered. Then why are you still alive? The human paused, then said quietly, because I don't rush. The alien didn't understand. But it would. So, another week passed. More malfunctions. A corridor lost power for 3 seconds. A security drone froze midair, then restarted. A guard forgot a routine check, for the first time in decades. Tiny cracks. Invisible at first, but growing. The other inmates began to notice. Whispers spread. Something is changing. Something is wrong. They watched each other. Blamed each other. Fights broke out. Chaos started to rise. But the humans? Still calm. Still quiet. Still watching. One night, if you could call it night in deep space, the prison went into temporary lockdown. A routine system reset. Everything paused. Doors sealed. Lights dimmed. Sensors recalibrated. For exactly 10 seconds. When the system came back online, nothing looked different. No alarms. No alerts. No breaches. Everything normal. Except, one human was no longer in their cell. No forced entry. No broken locks. No sign of escape. Just gone. The guards panicked. How is that possible? They scanned every system. Every corridor. Every chamber. Nothing. Then, another human disappeared. Then another. And another. No alarms. No damage. No trace. The strongest inmates tried to break out in the chaos. They failed. Every time. Because they used force. The humans used something else. Timing. Planning. Patience. The warden, a being that had controlled the prison for centuries, finally stepped in. This is not coincidence. It reviewed months of footage. Every second. Every detail. And then, it saw it. The patterns. Humans watching guard routines. Counting steps. Tracking delays. Memorizing system cycles. Not for hours. Not for days. For months. They weren't surviving the prison. They were studying it. Learning it. Becoming part of it. The warden whispered. They are not prisoners. They are planners. Another disappearance. Then another. Each one perfectly timed with system resets, blind spots, or human-created distractions. The other inmates grew terrified. Where are they going? How are they doing this? One alien shaking said, they're not escaping. They're dismantling the prison. And that's when the warden understood the real danger. Not strength. Not power. Not advanced technology. But something far more unsettling. Humans didn't need to break the system. They just needed to wait. Until the system broke itself. One guard, visibly nervous now, asked, why don't they just escape all at once? The warden replied slowly, because they don't want chaos. Pause. They want certainty. Another human vanished. Then another. Each one leaving behind no trace, except a slightly more unstable system. Finally, only one human remained, sitting quietly in their cell, calm as ever. The warden appeared before them. You could have left. The human nodded. I know. Then why are you still here? The human looked up. To make sure it works. The warden froze. What works? The human smiled faintly. The plan. At that exact moment, the prison lights flickered. Not once, not twice, but continuously. Systems failed. Doors unlocked. Security grids collapsed. Not from force, but from overload. Too many small disruptions. Too many ignored errors. Too many perfect, patient adjustments. The entire prison shut down. Every cell opened. Every system offline. Chaos erupted instantly. But the humans? They were already gone. Long before the collapse. The last human stood up calmly, walked past the warden, and said, "We were never the strongest." A step forward. Just the most patient. And then, they disappeared into the dark. The warden stood alone, surrounded by a broken system that had once been perfect. And for the first time in centuries, it felt something close to fear. Not of power, not of violence, but of something far more dangerous. Quiet resilience. The kind that waits, the kind that plants, the kind that never gives up. So tell me, what makes something truly dangerous? Raw power or the patience to use it at the perfect moment? Let me know in the comments.